Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Helmet to Helmet. But this one is in the alternate reality where the Patriots have won 6 Super Bowls.
It's true.
Here we are. But it's okay, because there's always next year. In case you didn't hear about the biggest game of the year, the Patriots won 13-3. Tom Brady 60% on the game, 21 of 35. No touchdowns and a pick to go along with 262 yards. The only touchdown of the game was Sony Michel's. He had 94 yards as well. Julian Edelman ended up winning the game MVP. 10 catches, 141 yards. Fantastic game from him. On the other side, Jared Goff, 19 of 38 for 229 yards and a huge pick. Todd Gurley was their lead back, 10 carries, 35 yards. As far as receiving goes, Brandon Cooks had 8 receptions for 120 yards. So now we are going to dive into the 3-point stance.
Yes, we are.
So my first point is the Rams had an incredible season. And we're very quick to dismiss the Super Bowl loser as just someone who came up short. We do this every year. My first thought is the 2013 Broncos that got blown out by the Seahawks. That was a record-setting year by Peyton Manning. And no one remembers that because they got killed 43-8 in the Super Bowl. And rightly so, you end the season on a sour note, but we should still give some props to the Rams for having an incredible season. I don't think we'll see really anywhere else.
No, I agree with that. I mean, they did lose, but this was a close game. I mean, 10 points in the end. It maybe didn't feel like much of a game, but their season was still good, and they made it to here where no other NFC team made it, so you got to give them props.
I absolutely agree. What's your first point?
Oh, I'm sorry. My first point is it was a low-scoring game that I don't think anyone really expected. We both knew that these teams were very capable of scoring offensively, and we saw that all season. And then it's like both of their defenses showed up and wanted to put on a show and a clinic, which is good that the defenses showed up. But as an audience member, I was very bored most of the game.
Absolutely. And you had mentioned in our previous Super Bowl deep dive, Corey Littleton, who was someone you said was sneaky and could get picks, ended up intercepting Tom Brady on the first drive. Not only on the first drive, Tom Brady's first pass attempt of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
props to you.
Thank you. This is my second correct prediction. He also had 10 tackles, so I mean, not bad game by him.
He did an incredible job. My second point is the healthier team wins. And I think we saw that last night from Todd Gurley, who he said afterwards that he hasn't been dealing with an injury. But this is not a Todd Gurley that anyone's used to. This entire year we saw Todd Gurley running through defenses and just having a field day to the point where we put him in the MVP conversation. For him to have 10 carries for 35 yards, no touchdowns, and to be absolutely silent on the ground other than one big run, I mean, it looks like he's injured.
Yeah, I think that he's been having that nagging injury all throughout the playoffs, and he's been able to have moments of greatness throughout some games where we're like, oh, he's obviously recovering. He'll be fine for the Super Bowl. But I don't think he ever was recovering to the same levels for him to still be out there playing each game. So had it been a healthy Todd Gurley, this score might be very different.
Yeah, and everyone's banged up once you get to this time of the year. There's no fully healthy team. But to have just the cornerstone of your offense to be that injured to where he's ineffective and to rely on a third-year rookie or third-year quarterback now.
First year in playoffs, really. So
yeah,
I mean, second year, but making a win.
It just looked bad for the Rams all around. Their offense couldn't really get going.
Yeah, and that brings me to my second point about this third-year quarterback. Is that Goff really is Matt Ryan. We saw him in this game. It's once you take away his weapon or his security blanket, he kind of messes up and just has those moments where it's like, what is wrong with him? What is he doing? And that's what I felt throughout the whole game. I saw him miss some throws that he should have had. And because he couldn't rely on the run, he was kind of frantic at times. And when he should have just picked up 3 or 4 yards just by scrambling, he decided to either throw it deep or just throw it out of bounds, which it works at the beginning of the game. But when it comes to crunch time, you wish you had those throws back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll agree with you that he looks a lot like early season Matt Ryan or like her early career Matt Ryan. But later career Matt Ryan, what we're seeing now is he is more likely to scramble and get those plays. But Jared Goff definitely did not come up clutch for the Rams.
Definitely a lack of experience there.
Especially when you needed them the most with Todd Gurley and C.J. Anderson combining for 57 yards?
I think rushing completely, what do they have, 62 yards with everybody.
Atrocious.
That's awful. You can't win a game with that.
No. And that kind of brings me to my third point. Defensive games aren't boring if you know what to look for. And a lot of fans, and a lot of people that I watched the game with last night were talking about how boring the game was, worst Super Bowl ever, and part of that was just from the Patriots winning. But
also the halftime show.
And the halftime show. We'll get to that. But it's not necessarily a horrible game if it's a lot of good defense. And we saw some bad offensive plays, but for the majority of the game, we just saw great coverage leading to sacks. And that's the kind of defensive performance that you live to see. Those are two great defenses, both shutting down great offenses.
Yeah, but the reason why I think it was somewhat boring to watch is because most time when you see great defenses at work, it's only one great defense working on the field. We were somewhat blessed and cursed with two defenses that played their best game, I think, of all season to hold that other team to those few points and however many punts there were and only 3 points in the whole first half. It just really shows that these teams did deserve to be there defensively, but as a viewer, I still was bored. Even looking at oh my gosh, what a sack, but it was just like, can we do something?
And scoring's exciting. That's what everyone loves to see. It was, 3-0 at halftime?
3-0 at halftime.
3-3 going into the fourth. The Patriots didn't score a touchdown till way late.
It was just fourth quarter, just okay.
I get it. There was a lack of scoring. But at the same time, if you can watch and just appreciate the good defensive movements, it was a good game.
They watched their film, and I respect that. That was good.
Absolutely.
And my last point, as I was also watching the Super Bowl, and I was like, oh, it's time for MVP voting. Let me just vote in who I believe, had the Rams won the game, should have been MVP, was Johnny Hekker. And I know you're saying, that's the punter. Yes, but when the punter has 9 punts for 417 yards, which is more than either offense, I believe, and he has now the longest punt in Super Bowl history at 65 yards. He changed positions of the game. He's what made Los Angeles not lose by near as much. He gave the defense plenty of room to work with and to not have them pushed back. And I mean, they of course lost, but positionally, they don't allow certain players to win MVP.
Yeah, and I can definitely agree with you about how good Johnny Hekker was, because we saw the first few drives of the Patriots. They were going down the field, and it was a missed field goal and interception that really stopped their drives. If the Rams didn't play field position,
yeah.
If the Rams didn't play field position, then this could have easily been a 30-3 blowout.
Yeah.
So Hecker's 9 punts, he had 5 of them land inside the 20. He averaged 46 yards on each punt. He did a fantastic job of keeping the Patriots pushed far enough back that the defense could bend a little and not give up points. I can agree with that.
Yeah. A good punting play. I mean, it just doesn't get enough respect.
Absolutely. But now we're going to get into what everyone wants us to talk about, the halftime show. Oh. So if you haven't kept up with your meme culture, in January-ish, late December, January, a petition came out to put the Bubble Bowl from SpongeBob's Sweet Victory in the halftime show. And it ended up getting over 1 million signatures. It was hyped up as it was going to happen. And people started posting on social media, oh, I'm out here, I hear Maroon 5 starting, it's going to happen, guys, for sure. And so all of us with hopeful hearts tuned into the performance to watch it start and then turn into Sicko Mode by Travis Scott. And I think I can speak for everyone in between the ages of 17 and 99 that we are all incredibly disappointed in how this turned out.
It was, you can't just tease SpongeBob like that. What was it, 10 seconds at most?
Yeah, and I understand maybe not being able to get the rights or having to throw something together quickly, but if you're not going to do it right, don't do it at all. Don't tease it up like it's going to happen. Say it's not possible to happen and it'll be fine. Don't do that. That was incredibly disappointing.
It's like they used it for ratings. And the creator did die recently, Steven, and I thought it was going to be a little bit more of a tribute. Like maybe if you had that, then be like, rest in peace, or, a tribute to this, and then go into what you want to do next. But don't just say SpongeBob's going to be in it and then show that. That was almost more disappointing than the game.
Yeah, I was incredibly underwhelmed by it. It was just bad. It was tasteless a little bit.
And I hate that such a bad performance was put on in such a great stadium. Because
Yeah.
Atlanta's a beautiful stadium, and they just didn't do it
And
justice.
You and I were talking about there's so much they could do with that Halo board, you know.
Oh, yes. Just the imagination of it takes 8 minutes to open up the stadium, and then you can have like drones fly in. You have a Halo board. Get creative. What are y'all doing?
Yeah, just throw some bubbles up there like we're going down to Bikini Bottom. If you're going to do it, go all out.
Go all out.
Because what you did was disappointing.
Yeah.
Before we sign off, would you like to throw out a prediction for Super Bowl 54? Just give us two teams.
The way too early
before
Super
free
Bowl
agency,
prediction.
before the draft, before the first game is played, before any snaps have been taken.
So this is just for fun, but I'm going with obviously the Falcons because I love them, but they're not going to do it. Falcons and Chiefs.
That's a fun one. I'm going to go with the Houston Texans.
Oh, I like that.
Just
I like
a little
them.
surprise underdog. And from the NFC, I don't know. How about Chicago?
Ooh,
Houston and Chicago. Super Bowl 54.
I'm down.
Let's make it happen. I'm Mason.
And this is Ian.
And this is Helmet to Helmet.